Since the early days of Monster Hunter, I've always heard, oh my GOG. I'm glad to say I finally met the monster GOG Mazios, and he does not disappoint.
Oh! Yeah, should have known.
Welcome back, classy crew, to another journal in my journey to slay all 4 Fatalises in Monster Hunter 4U. We are getting closer. I am now at Hunter rank 63, 7 away from unlocking Hunter rank 70, where I hear one Fatalis is hiding. I have been making quite a bit of progress since my last journal. After G3, after GOG, I hear there's more Fatalises. So we're getting very close. This past couple weeks has been about grinding through G2, G3, getting some new armor, some new weapon, and really wrapping up the end game of this game and just unlocking harder and harder challenges. Before I get into GOG, the last time I mentioned I needed to upgrade my weapon, I was really struggling through G1, not making enough damage. Actually, I think I was in G2. With G2 unlocked, I was able to finally access the parts I needed to upgrade my Seregios axe up to another level. It's the second last level, and I can't upgrade it any further because I need some kind of seal weapon, and that only becomes available much, I think, after GOG. So for now, I've got the highest damaging weapon I have for the charge blade, and what a difference it's made. It's really made the rest of this endgame a lot more manageable. Things are dying in a much more comfortable, and I decided it was time to upgrade my armor for more skills. So based on some feedback from the community, I decided to go and grind out a, what's his name? The purple bird. Why am I forgetting the purple bird's name? Anyways, the purple bird that I absolutely dislike hunting, so I did this in multiplayer. It took about a dozen hunts to finally get all the parts I needed. So I got 5 skills out of it, and then with my charm, I actually was able to get a 6th skill, which you guys are probably going to laugh. By the way, while I was doing this, I developed an addiction to charm farming. So because I've been just doing so much kind of just hunting, I figured, well, I might as well develop my farm and my charms. And so I've been grinding out charms, been learning more about what's a good charm, what's a bad charm, looking at the skills, appreciating the skills more. And this is an element of Monster Hunter I feel I never properly got hooked on it. So I'm happy to say I'm hooked on it. So anyways, I got the new Garuga armor, comes with these skills. I got the critical eye +2, which is fantastic for more damage. HG earplugs, which is fantastic for letting me actually do more damage while they're roaring. Razor sharp, which lets me, I think, maintain my sharpness or gives me more sharpness. One of those two. Either way, more DPS, lovely stuff. Quick sheath, fantastic for getting out of the way faster. Just makes that animation of sheathing go faster. And then I got the artillery novice from, I think, my decorations, which lets me do more boom with my files. So all of these are very offensive skills, which is fantastic. And then the final skill that I got to add thanks to a charm, it's the one defensive skill I have, and it is my friend, Divine Blessing. I can't believe I found Divine Blessing in here. So the only reason I got it is because I actually melded a charm which has +8 to Divine Blessing. So it was almost a no-brainer. I'm like, the game is giving me Divine Blessing. I have to use it. And so for those who are wondering why I'm making a big deal out of this, go check out my Monster Hunter World original journey, and you will see at the end game how Divine Blessing became an icon of that journey. So here it is again, blessed by the divinity to take on my Fatalises. It's just, it was meant to be. With all of this new gear, it's time to grind out G2, and off I went fighting a few new monsters, including a shrouded Nursilla. This thing, I was like, what? How could they make it work? More poison? No, they actually made it more interesting by having it go underground more often. So you fight it in the desert, and it just kind of like goes underground. It adds the Diablos element to a Nursilla fight. It also slings in the air more, which I think is a little bit dumb because it slings when there's nothing above to sling to, and just slings like overall, fun fight. I like the original Nursilla fight more than the shrouded Nursilla. This one was not as bad as I thought it would be. Then, the legendary Fata, I mentioned this in my last journal, Fire Drill. Everybody warned me this would be my G2 wall. It's a quest in the volcanic hollow with a Brachydios and a Stygian Zinogre. Very well known for being exceptionally difficult and walling people. Even in the comments of the last journal, people were mentioning how they quit this game for months because of this quest. And long story short, I beat it, which was just a surprise. But anyways, I must have been on like just the perfect wave of connecting with my controller. The one thing I did very differently here is I brought dung bombs, because I'm like, well, if I'm taking on 2 hard monsters, I have learned, bring some poo with you so you can separate them. And so I went in, got rid of the Stygians and Ogre. Whenever he showed up, I'm just like, poo on you and your family. And so I just focused on the Brachydios. Somehow he didn't give me too much trouble. Like, I was complaining at the beginning of this game that the Brachydios was not a good matchup with the Charge Blade. But here I was, just like comfortably just wailing on him, dropping Saids and Aids, and I think I got him cartless and just destroyed him. So that was done by about like probably the 20-minute mark. This was also a sign that my weapon was finally, and my skills were aligned to do some proper damage. And then I went after the Stygians and Ogre, and this boy...
No! He out-stomped me! Oh, that's outplayed.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about the balls. And so it was, I struggled, and I carded twice. It got pretty tight where I had used up all my healing items, and I was just like, oh my god. And so I was holding on to one last potion towards the end. He started limping. I was like, oh, here's the chance. Followed him. He like knocked me down by jumping up a wall, like almost all my life gone. I was like, oh man, I can taste it. I can die so easily, but he's limping, so he's close to dying. Finally, he walked away from that region, and everyone's like, let him sleep, let him sleep. So I just wasted a bit of time. Went in, of course, he was sleeping, and I'm like, it's all on this Said, let's go. And then I just went in, and luckily, that's all it took to kill him. So I killed him in his sleep with a Said drop, and I love that. After that point, it was just cleaning up to go and unlock G3. So there was some Black Gravios. I did that in multiplayer. A Brute Tigrex. I think I did that myself. Diablos. I can't believe I hadn't encountered a Diablos in this game, but people reminded me that, no, this is the first Diablos I fought. So I fought him. Fun boy. I love my Diablos. Went through the Black Diablos. Also not so bad. I think after doing the Apex in Sunbreak, like Diablos, I know how to fight a Diablos at this point. And then all of that unlocked the Gatekeeper to G3, which is Chaotic Gore Magala. Was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be prepared for this, but I went at it anyways. And it came so close to timing out, so it was a pretty tough fight. He hits pretty hard, but I was playing cautious. Luckily, my weapon does some good damage. I lost track of him. He was limping around the 15-minute left at the end. So I was comfortable. I'm like, oh, I'm going to end this. I'm going to end this. He was so good at hiding from me because I didn't paintball him because we kept fighting in the same 3 zones. I'm like, I know where he's going to go. I don't need to paintball him. Silly me. He caused me to waste over 10 minutes of my time hunting him. I got Monster Hunter 1 flashbacks here. And luckily, like, there were 5 minutes left. I paintballed him, found him in the nest, and just went like, and just destroyed him before I ran out of time. But I had 4 minutes left. I was sweating. I did not want to fail that quest to a timeout. That would have been so embarrassing. So with that, G3 opened up, and the elders were lined up. Luckily, I only had to fight 4. The first one was Chameleos, which was my first one here, and it was just absolutely stupid. Like, I tried to solo it, and it was so dumb how much damage he does. I'm just like, this is not pleasant or fun. And so I just like brought in multiplayer, and even in multiplayer he was hard. Like, we carded, I think we failed maybe once. We were struggling against Chameleos. And after a while, it took like an hour between my solo attempts and multiplayer attempts. We finally killed him. I'm like, like these elders are just dialed up too crazy. And it is G rank. It's intended for multiplayer. So I'm like, I don't even want to solo these. These are just not fun to solo at this level of pain. And so I took out Kshala, Teostra, Yukanlos with multiplayer, which is what led us to unlock Gogmazios so early. And so I went in with no expectation of being able to do good. And I have to say that, first of all, as a monster design, this thing is absolutely beautiful to look at. I love the design concept. He's big, but he like moves like a small monster. And just the way he's like leaking like all of this like weird tar stuff, and really, really cool monster. Love him. So he's in the arena. So the first thing I do is I start loading cannonballs into the thing,
Well,
move it
that's
into
not good.
position,
Holy!
blow him, and then I jump on his back and I like start stabbing him. So I like get a mount right at the beginning, which is like, oh, dopamine hit. And then I go back to the top and I'm saying like, okay, what else? What other flip can I, or whatever? What other switch can I flip? And I find the Dragonator. I was like, oh, let's get this. So he gets close, boom, Dragonator right into the chest. He falls. I go down, and I boom, 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 boom. So I keep like doing that. And then I'm looking for like other things that are like, oh, these binders are open. I'm like, oh, what do these do? So the first one I shoot, I miss because I didn't know what it was. Second one, I shoot, pin him down. And all I'm doing is just getting my charge blade charged up, get an Aid or a Said, and just boom, Said, or Aid. Like I'm just unleashing as much damage as I can on him. And I'm lasting pretty long here. I'm like 30 minutes in, and I've gotten his moveset down where I can pretty much dodge it. So it just comes down to just unleashing as much damage as I can. Not expecting much, pulling off the Dragonator as I can. Where like this entire fight really spiked in terms of dopamine and craziness is at one point, so I break his tail and then I'm like, oh, like dopamine hit again. I'm like, I'm doing so good. I'm, you know, hitting all of the Dragonators, hitting everything I should, and now the tail break. Maybe I have a chance of actually doing this and I'm not dying, so I know what I'm doing. And then soon after, I drop an SAD that somehow hit his back and dislodged the Dragonator that was on his back. And the chat was like, oh my god, how did he do that? He broke it. And they're like, Dragonator, Dragonator. I didn't realize I knocked the Dragonator off his back. I thought I just broke something. And the second thing is I didn't know that you can use the Dragonator from his back when it falls off. So I run to the Dragonator on the other side of the arena up top, and people are like, what's he doing? Where's he going? And then they see me go to the dragon and they're like, you idiot. And the Dragonator was X'd out. I couldn't use it. And they're like, you idiot, the other Dragonator. And everyone's like yelling. And I'm like, what's going on? What am I doing? And while I'm there, while I saw that the Dragonator was not done and I was like coming to terms that, oh, it was the other Dragonator over there, the Dragonator up top became available. I'm like, oh, look, the timing was perfect. And so everyone's like, oh, BS, hey, J-Luck. And so anyways, he comes close. I activate that Dragonator. I go down and I try to hover like near the old first gen Dragonator that fell off. And then all of a sudden the music kicks in, he flies. I was like, what is going on? And apparently there's a phase 2 to this thing. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? And then he's like charging, he's flying, and he just starts shooting a laser everywhere. And I think I was far enough that I was safe, but I did not know what to expect. All I see is laser everywhere. So I'm literally running like a cartoon in a circle. I eventually did trigger the Dragonator, did not hit him because you have to do it as soon as it falls off his back. I was doing some good damage, but I was asking people, I think there were 5 minutes left in the fight after wailing on him for a while. I was like, is there any chance of me winning this? And they're just like, no, you missed too many like chances. You weren't doing enough damage. Apparently it's a really hard fight to solo. So I was like, okay. So I ended by subquest. So at least I got the victory music. I got to keep all my parts, and it was a fantastic first experience. Even though I didn't win, like slay it, to me, I won as a hunter because I learned the fight. I got to do so many cool things. I got a cool story out of it, and it was just such a great time. And another thing that I learned is I couldn't use the Demolisher, which is like this mega cannon in the thing, because I haven't unlocked the fuel to use that thing. So you have to go and do all of these lab quests for the professor, all these quests that are assigned by the professor, which apparently then lets you do something at the farm, which lets you eventually buy the fuel to use in that quest. So that's what I started doing in multiplayer, grinding up those quests. I'm not quite there yet. I need another part or two, and then I will be able to buy the fuel. I want to go back in multiplayer just to go after GOG, because I feel I know the fight now. I don't want to do another extended 40-minute like solo like I did with the Lamador just for the sake of it. I know the fight. I want to just end it so that I can finish G3. And then I think we get into the bronze, silver, gold crowns of G rank. And it's just a matter of finding Fatalis, which is somewhere in there. I don't know what that grind looks like. I don't know what to do there. But we're getting there. We're getting very close. I can smell this dragon. And I think we're just a journal or two away before I can finally say pledge complete. So hopefully I'll see you in those journals or on the stream. And until next time, keep it classy.